The old days. Everyone wants to know how it was in the old days, with no sun or moon in our colorless sky, to warn us we were not insane, only the harsh, searing eye of unblinking madwomen and men, calling our star a zoo, and I have no bride to recall, only many women who whisper, I was always a virgin because I never remained. I remember you only through the eyes of all the forgotten others. On Monday, a cat in the sorceress's alley screeched out your death in another year's language, and I had forgotten your name like a promise of hunger. Everyone wants to know how it was in the old days, when we kissed stone into dust, eternally hungry, paying respect to the crippled earth in silence and in tears. Surely one star fell as the mountain collapsed over our bodies. Surely the moon blinked once as our vigils began. Contact lenses. Lacking what they want to see makes my eyes hungry, and eyes can feel only pain. Once I lived behind thick walls of glass, and my eyes belonged to a different ethic, timidly rubbing the edges of whatever turned them on. Seeing usually was a matter of what was in front of my eyes, matching what was behind my brain. Now my eyes have become a part of me, exposed, quick, risky, and open to all the same dangers. I see much better now, and my eyes hurt. Lightly. Don't make waves is good advice from a leaky boat. 1 light year is the distance one ray of light can travel, and 1 year and 30 light years away from Earth is our infinitely offended universe of waiting. An electronic cloud announces our presence finally to the unimpressible stars. This is straight from a Scientific American. On the planet Earth, our human signature upon the universe is an electronic cloud of expanding 30-year-old television programs like Howdy Doody, Arthur Godfrey, Uncle Milty, and hula hoops, quiz shows, and wrestling midgets, baseball, the McCarthy hearings, and Captain Kangaroo. Now, I don't know what a conscious universe might be, but it is interesting to wonder what will wave back to all that. Hanging fire. I am 14, and my skin has betrayed me. The boy I cannot live without still sucks his thumb in secret. How come my knees are always so ashy? What if I die before morning and Mama's in the bedroom with the door closed? I have to learn how to dance in time for the next party. My room is too small for me. Suppose I die before graduation. They will sing sad melodies, but finally tell the truth about me. There is nothing I want to do, and too much that has to be done. And Mama's in the bedroom with the door closed. Nobody even stops to think about my side of it. I should have been on math team. My marks were better than his. Why do I have to be the one wearing braces? I have nothing to wear tomorrow. Will I live long enough to grow up? And Mama's in the bedroom with the door closed. But what can you teach my daughter? What do you mean? No. You don't have the right to know How often have we built each other as shelters against the cold? And even my daughter knows what you know can hurt you. She says her nos and it hurts. She says when she talked of liberation, she means freedom from that pain. She knows what you know can hurt, but what you do not know can kill. From inside an empty purse. Money cannot buy you what you want, standing flat-footed and lying like a grounded chestnut, unlovable and suspect. I am trying to reach you on whatever levels you flow from, treacherous growing water in a blind tongueless pond. I am the thread of your woman's cloth, the sexy prison that protects you, deep and unspoken, flesh around your freedom. I am your enemy's face. The money doesn't matter so much as the lie telling. You don't know why. In a dream, I am trying to reach you before you fall into me. A small slaughter. Day breaks without thanks or caution, past a night without satisfaction or pain. My words are blind children I have armed against the casual insolence of mourning without you. I am scarred and marketed like a street corner in Harlem, a woman whose face in the tiles your feet have not yet regarded. I am the stream past which you will never step, the woman you cannot deal with. I am the mouth of your scorn. From the greenhouse. Summer rains like my blood cries, lover, my lover, over and over, surging, receding sometimes. A brief sun knifing through, rain like my blood speaks in alternate whispers, roaring, giving and taking, seeking, destroying, beseeching green sprouts in our struggling garden, blessing the earth as it suffers, blind rain beating down, tender sprouts in the silent mud. My blood yells against your sleeping shoulder. This is a poem of summer. My blood screams at your false safety, your mute body beside me, driving me closer and closer. You seek your own refuge, farther and farther away in your dreaming. The edge of our bed is approaching again. Rain surges against our windows. Green sprouts are drowning in mud and blessings in our carefully planted greenhouse. I have moved as far as I can. Now my blood merges into your dreaming. Journeystones, 1 through 11. 1. Maxine, I used to admire your talent for saying nothing so well. That way the blood was always someone else's, and there was always some place left to be yourself, the stranger. 2. Elaine, my sister outsider, I still salute the power of learning loss. 3. China, girl on the run, I am so sorry our night was not black enough for you to hide in. 4. Jan was a name for so many people, I cannot remember you. 5. Margaret, the broken rock you dropped into my pocket had unrelenting curves that would not polish. I discovered it was the petrified half shell of a prehistoric nut. 6. Catherine, you lie against the earth like a pungent little onion, and whenever I come too close to you, I weep. 7. Isabel, I hear your blood ring, but I am tired of friends who hurt and lean at the same time. My heart grows confused between your need for love and your need for destruction. 8. Joyce, you always hated being furious and without anyone to kill. 9. Janie, I feel the scream drowning in your sharp eyes, trained to impersonate mermaids, shallow, seductive, and dangerous as coral. 10. Flora, my sister, what I know, I no longer need to understand. If you make me stone, I will bruise you. 11. The last hole in fortune is the anger of the empress knowing herself as mortal and without child. About religion. After church on Sundays, I learned to love the gospel music swelling up past garbage cans in the summer, backyards of my childhood Armageddon. Black shiny women, spicy as rocking pumpkins encased in stiff white covers, long-sleeved, silk against brick, and their rocketed beat snapped like pea shooters in the August time, while the fingered tambourines, hand-heeled beat, rose through the air shafts, sweet and timely. I hear the music filtered through a heat wave of my mother's churchly disapproval. A skinny, nappy-headed little girl ran back and forth collecting in my envy coins wrapped in newspapers and the corners of old sheets that even my mother grudgingly flung down. Sister Outsider. We were born in a poor time, never touching each other's hunger, never sharing our crusts. In fear, the bread became enemy. Now we raise our children to respect themselves as well as each other. Now you have made loneliness holy and useful and no longer needed now. Your light shines very brightly, and I want you to know your darkness also rich and beyond fear. Bazaar. The lay-back women are cooking. Gold in their iron pots is smoking toward a sky that will never speak. In this evening I hold them, bound in the skin of my mother, anxious and ugly as a lump of iron, wishing to be worked for gold. Other forgotten faces of her flow into each other over the clatter of remembered bargains, reluctant barter. I wonder how many of these women, my sisters, still have milk in their breasts. Power. The difference between poetry and rhetoric is being ready to kill yourself instead of your children. I am trapped on a desert of raw gunshot wounds and a dead child dragging his shattered black face off the edge of my sleep. Blood from his punctured cheeks and shoulders is the only liquid for miles, and my stomach churns at the imagined taste, while my mouth splits into dry lips without loyalty or reason, thirsting for the wetness of his blood as it sinks into the whiteness of the desert, where I am lost without imagery or magic, trying to make power out of hatred and destruction, trying to heal my dying son with kisses, only the sun will bleach his bones quicker. The policeman who shot down a 10-year-old in Queens stood over the boy with his cop shoes and childish blood, and a voice said, "Die, you little motherfucker." And there are tapes to prove that. At his trial, this policeman said in his own defense, "I didn't notice the size or nothing else, only the color." And there are tapes to prove that too. Today, that 37-year-old white man with 13 years of police forcing has been set free by 11 white men who said they were satisfied justice had been done. and one black woman who said, "They convinced me," meaning they had dragged her 4'10" black woman's frame over the hot coals of 4 centuries of white male approval until she let go the first real power she ever had and lined her own womb with cement to make a graveyard for our children. I have not been able to touch the destruction within me. But unless I learn to use the difference between poetry and rhetoric, my power too will run corrupt as poisonous mold, or lie limp and useless as an unconnected wire. And one day I will take my teenaged plug and connect it to the nearest socket, raping an 85-year-old white woman who is somebody's mother. And as I beat her senseless and set a torch to her bed, a Greek chorus will be singing in 3/4 time. Poor thing, she never hurt a soul. What beasts they are. Eulogy. A girl in my sister's house wears nightmare hidden in her eyes, still as a bird's eyes. When blood calls, the girl retreats into a brassy ring that neither tears nor nourishment can alter. But her circle does not suffer, nor can it dream. Her fingers twist into a married root. Night cannot break her now, nor the sun heal, and soon it is merciless white heat will fuse her nightmare eyes to agate, her sullen tongue to flint. Then she will strike, but never bleed again. Never take fire from a woman. My sister and I have been raised to hate genteelly each other's silences, sear up our tongues like flame. We greet each other with respect, meaning from a watchful distance, while we dream of lying in the tender of passion, to drink from a woman who smells like love. Between ourselves. Once when I walked into a room, my eyes would seek out the 1 or 2 black faces for contact or reassurance or a sign. I was not alone, now walking into rooms full of black faces that would destroy me for any difference. Where shall my eyes look? Once it was easy to know who were my people. If we were stripped to our strength of all pretense and our flesh was cut away, the sun would bleach all our bones as white as the face of my black mother was bleached white by gold or orishala. And how does that measure me? I do not believe our wants have made all our lies holy. Under the sun on the shores of Elmina, a black man sold the woman who carried my grandmother in her belly. He was paid with bright yellow coin that shone in the evening sun. And in the faces of her sons and daughters, when I see that brother behind my eyes, his irises are bloodless and without color. His tongue clicks like yellow coins tossed up on this shore, where we share the same corner of an alien and corrupted heaven. And whenever I try to eat the words of easy blackness as salvation, I taste the color of my grandmother's first betrayal. I do not believe our wants have made all our lies holy. But I do not whistle his name at the shrine of Shapona. I do not bring down the rosy juices of death upon him, nor forget Orishala is called the god of whiteness, who works in the dark wombs of night, forming the shapes we all wear, so that even cripples and dwarves and albinos are sacred worshippers when the boiled corn is offered. Humility lies in the face of history. I have forgiven myself for him, for the white meat we all consumed in secret. Before we were born, we shared the same meal. When you impale me upon your lances of narrow blackness, before you hear my heart speak, mourn your own borrowed blood, your own borrowed visions. Do not mistake my flesh for the enemy. Do not write my name in the dust before the shrine of the god of smallpox, for we are all children of Eshu, god of chance and the unpredictable, and we each wear many changes inside our skin. Armed with scars healed in many different colors, I look in my own faces as Eshu's daughter, crying, if we do not stop killing the other in ourselves, the self that we hate in others, soon we shall all lie in the same direction. And Eshidale's priests will be very busy, they who alone can bury all those who seek their own death by jumping up from the ground and landing upon their heads. Future promise. This house will not stand forever. The windows are sturdy but shuttered, like individual solutions that match one at a time. The roof leaks. On persistent rainy days, I look up to see the gables weeping quietly. The stairs are sound beneath my children, but from time to time a splinter leaves embedded in a childish foot. I dream of stairways sagging into silence, well used and satisfied, with no more need for changelessness. Once freed from constancy, this house will not stand forever. The Trollop Maiden. But my life is not portable now, said the Trollop Maiden. I need fixed light to make my witless orchids grow into prizes. And the machine I use to make my bread is too bulky to move around easily, and besides, it needs a specially heavy current. But the old maid who lives in your navel is a Trollop Maiden's desire, and your orchids sing without smell in the fixed light like sirens. You can always run off yourself, said the Trollop Maiden, but my life is not portable. Yet she moved, into coquette with the rhythms of a gypsy fiddle, fired across my bow with a mouthful of leaden pain. Now, that's one piece I cannot leave behind, she whispered. Solstice. We forgot to water the plantain shoots when our houses were full of borrowed meat, and our stomachs with the gift of strangers, who laugh now as they pass us, because our land is barren. The farms are choked with stunted rows of straw, and with our nightmares of juicy brown yams that cannot fill us. The roofs of our houses rot from last winter's water, but our drinking pots are broken. We have used them to mourn the deaths of old lovers. The next rain will wash our footprints away, and our children have married beneath them. Our skins are empty. They have been vacated by the spirits who are angered by our reluctance to feed them. In baskets of straw made from sleepgrass and the dropping of civets, they have been hidden away by our mothers who are waiting for us by the river. My skin is tightening. Soon I shall shed it like a monitor lizard, like remembered comfort at the new moon's rising. I will eat the last signs of my weakness, remove the scars of old childhood wars, and dare to enter the forest whistling like a snake that has fed the chameleon for changes. I shall be forever. May I never remember reasons for my spirit's safety. May I never forget the warning of my woman's flesh, weeping at the new moon. May I never lose that terror that keeps me brave. May I owe nothing that I cannot repay.